Hey guys, it's week 2 of teacher-directed online learning. How's it going for you? I know I'm getting some different responses. Some love it, some hate it, some like the work, but can't wait to get back to school with friends. I get it. I can't wait to get back to being with you guys. I'm coming to you from my garage again. This time a little bit different view. I'm trying to keep my head where it blocks the light behind me. But I want to talk to you about just a couple things that are going on this week. Let me first of all, day one, I want to tell you what's going on this week. This is Easter week, so Friday you'll be off. Friday and next Monday, there won't be anything expected of you. So we're only going to have 2 videos, 2 assignments this week, 1 major assignment that you need to be aware of, okay? And you should already have gotten that information. So let me just think about it. There are going to be some class videos. Along with the videos will come some quizzes. I don't think I did this last week with Ed Puzzle, but I will be putting a quiz inside the video. Now what that means is as you're watching the video, you cannot fast forward through it. You'll have to watch every second. But as you're watching it, the quiz questions will pop up on the screen, and it will be connected immediately to what you just heard. So be aware of that. We'll take a couple of grades that way this week as you watch those videos. Now, with that, the big assignment for the week, there's of course the videos. There maybe I'm going to share an article or 2 with you so that you can get a little more information about the connection with New Spirituality and actually the contrast between New Spirituality and Christianity, so that you can have a little better understanding of it. So you'll want to read those articles as well. But the big assignment is this test assignment. It's test grade in the 4th quarter, and what excuse me, what you're going to be doing with that is you're going to choose a movie, some music, or a television show. Somebody asked about that. Yes, television shows are great. And you're going to make a connection between that television show and New Spirituality, and you're going to write about it. A 1 to 2 page essay. Now, don't get to the bottom of the first page and just stop. Do this well. Do this well. Take care of business on this one. And so, first part, I want you to introduce New Spirituality briefly. I want you then to discuss how the movie or how that part of a movie actually brings out New Spirituality. And with that, I'm asking you for a direct quote from a movie or a television show or whatever, and set that quote in context. Give me an idea what's going on so that I can, so I have a clear understanding that you're making that connection, you're making it well. And then the last part of that is I want you to tell me either how that movie has been influential in society, or I want you to be a little bit predictive, to think how it could be influential. And if you want to do both, that's fine as well. So that's the assignment. All your assignments are going to be due this Thursday by 2 p.m. Okay, so be aware of that. Now let's get into this topic of New Spirituality and talk about today these 4 basic teachings. Okay, teaching number 1: everything is consciousness. That is, everything around us is part of the consciousness that helps us discover the God within. For instance, this hammer. This hammer is a material object to us as Christians. There is nothing special about this hammer other than the fact that my dad gave this to me. But it's just a hammer. I allow my kids to use it. There's nothing special. Now, for New Spiritualists, remember, everything physical is actually an illusion. And so if I'm going to discover the God within me, then I've got to recognize the connection to consciousness that's found in this material object. That is, that if I'm going to build something, I'm going to be effective at building it, I've got to become unified with the hammer. We've got to work in unity. And so there's this spiritualized element of I'm not just building a home or building a bookshelf or whatever. I am connecting with the God within me through this hammer to accomplish my task. It's kind of bizarre, but I hope that makes sense. Hope that kind of brings that to light. Everything is consciousness. Everyone is God. Okay, so everything around us, all we're connecting with the consciousness that is around us. And so when this idea is that if I recognize the Godhood in me, then the relationships that I have, the relationships that you and I have, then I want to. I don't want to just view you as another individual. I want to recognize that you help me find the Godhood within me. You help me connect with the consciousness that is collective around us, and I'm helping you. And when we all begin to achieve that collective consciousness, then we're going to all recognize our Godhood together. And the more godlike we become, it's kind of bizarre. It's kind of bizarre, but everyone is God. So that new spiritual idea is that you're your own God, I'm my own God, and if we work together and we put aside our individual selves and we put aside our selfishness, then the greater chances are we will achieve that Godhood in us. Okay? What do you think? It's kind of nuts, in my opinion, but that's the basic belief. Now, the third part of that, consciousness can be harnessed to achieve perfection. Okay, so you've heard this idea about there being an energy. I want to give you my positive energy and that sort of thing. Everything is energy. Everything is connected to this force, and including our thoughts. And the idea is that when we have good energy about us, good things are going to come out of it. But when we have bad energy or bad thoughts, we actually inhibit it. It kind of comes along with this idea that the spoken word. Now, I'm not talking about the poetic form of spoken word where somebody writes a poem and really presents a message with it. But it's kind of fleshed out sometimes in some Christian circles, this idea of we speak things into existence. If I want to do great things, then I need to speak it into existence. If I want to see this happen in my life, then I need to speak it into existence. And that is not that's not a biblical concept. Now, hear me. There's power in our words. For instance, if I want to set a goal in my life to do this or to do that, or maybe lose weight or whatever, if I tell my wife or I tell my closest friends, then they can hold me accountable and help me in that pursuit. But just because I say it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But the concept that's we harness our thoughts and we speak our words to make things happen. Kind of like in the Matrix, the idea of bending the spoon. The way you bend the spoon is realize it's really not a spoon. It's all an illusion. So that type of idea. There's a quote in your notes from Eckhart Tolle: "New heaven and new earth will be fulfilled as more people harness the power of consciousness." If we want to have a good world, then the way we do that is that we all connect to consciousness, to the greater consciousness, and become one, and then we'll achieve those things. Wow. And the fourth major teaching is this: the purpose of life is overcoming self. Where you and I as Christians would identify our spiritual problem as being a sin problem, for new spiritualists, they recognize that spiritual problem coming from this idea of believing that we have a self, that we are individuals, and not just a part of the collective consciousness. Okay, and so if we're going to reach Godhood, we're going to ascend to nirvana, we're going to go through the cycles of reincarnation and reach nirvana, then the way that happens is we've got to forget about that individual self. I'm not Jonathan, the person. The greater part of me is connected to everything around me, the consciousness. That's the first step of fulfilling a sense of purpose in life. So the goal is to free ourselves from the illusion of self. Now, for new spirituality, they give a couple of methods there: yoga and meditation. Now, I'm not a fan of yoga because it's painful to me, but the spiritual side of it, and it always brings up a discussion: is yoga wrong for Christians? Not necessarily. It's when the spiritual side of yoga is taught or bought into, that's where it becomes dangerous for us. Meditation is far different from the biblical idea of meditation. This meditation is an emptying of the self, emptying of the mind, freeing of the mind, or the individual thoughts to find healing and peace within. That's not the biblical idea of meditation. Biblical idea is to fill our minds with the Word of God so that the Word of God becomes prevalent, prominent in our lives. Okay? And the last part of that's the cycle of reincarnation. How do we overcome self? The cycle of reincarnation unto nirvana or enlightenment. That is, we live our lives. When we die, we are reincarnated. The idea is that we are reincarnated into another form where we try and rid ourselves of self even farther and eventually hope to achieve enlightenment. Okay, that's the 4 basic teachings. You guys have read it. Love to hear your thoughts on it, see what you think. Okay, we'll record one more video and be ready for the week.